Okay, I'm gonna save that for later. I'm gonna just lock that away.
Worst wedding ever.
Did I just delete everything? Hold on. You're feeling that sensation that the rug is gonna get pulled out from underneath you, but you don't know when. So you're just trying to stay as alert as possible so that you can jump at the perfect moment. I'm so in my head about how to rate this book. Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome or welcome back. I am Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, and today I'm excited to take you along with me for a reading vlog where I'm going to be reading books recommended by Ms., or I think now Mrs. Hailey Hughes. You may have seen Hailey last year on my channel. She was a co-host for the Midnight Society Book Club. She and I have very similar taste in books with some diverging, sections in there and genres and tropes and whatnot. Hailey and I actually have a lot in common. We both live in Texas. We're both very much into psychology. She's a therapist. We both love Karen Slaughter and Pretty Girls specifically. I have gotten many a rec from her over the years, and recently I've been in a little slumpy slump. I've been feeling a little ill, and so I put on Booktube and I watched a couple of Hailey's videos, and I was like, okay, now I want to read again. Sometimes when I stop watching Booktube, I forget watching it is part of making it. That's what inspires the content. We're trying to get out of the slump. We're reading. And we are taking Hailey's suggestions. I'm going to be reading 3 books in this vlog. The first is Jackal by Erin E. Adams. Next, we're going to be reading We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz. And then lastly, I'm going to read The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I think I'm actually going to let Hailey introduce these books to you. And so without further ado, let's get going.
In Jackal, we are following a Black woman who is returning to her predominantly white small hometown for her friend's wedding. And every single year in this small town, a young Black girl goes missing. This just so happens to be her friend's daughter, who is kidnapped during this wedding. And she will not rest until she finds out what is happening to these little girls, because she knows that there has to be more to it than just a random kidnapper. And the answer to everything is absolutely wild. It is not what I was expecting at all. There are some really cool, unique elements to this story that if you're feeling like every thriller's reading the same, this one will totally mix it up for you.
I'm reading Jackal. As usual, the dogs are barking. Life is as normal, and I'm really liking it so far. This is by Erin E. Adams. I have heard Hailey recommend this, but I've also heard a lot of other people recommend this book, and the cover's gorgeous. And I have read one short story by Erin E. Adams, which was from Out There Screaming, edited by Jordan Peele. I liked that one, but I didn't love it. I've also listened to an interview with the author and really liked her as a person. Not that that matters, but it, gives me a good taste in my mouth, I suppose, before going into a book. What I've heard from other people about this book is that the twist is wild. I think somebody compared this to The Writing Retreat, and after having read that and how wild that twist was and where that went, it's making me just I have no idea where this is gonna go. I have no clue where this is gonna go. I'm intrigued. The way the story is being told, we're following main character Liz Roche. And she is, I think she's 30 or maybe not. She's 25, 30, 35, somewhere in there. I don't know. She's coming back home to small town, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Sounds like it was an old mining town or something. It used to be more successful, I guess. And now it's not. It's kind of this dying old town. And there's something about the woods in this town. Also, I should mention, because that's very important to the plot, that Liz is a Black woman from this town, which is pretty rare. She grew up with only one other Black girl in her class, and that girl got taken into the woods and went missing. And so Liz is not a huge fan of the woods. Why is she going back home to this small town? Well, that's because her best friend from childhood, she's getting married, and so Liz has to be there to support her. I will tell you right now, I'm maybe 30% in, so I'm really not that far in. I don't know what this weird twist is, but I'm just kind of getting to know the characters. It's kind of slow, but in a gripping way. It's getting its fingers deep in and then like pulling you up the next step. I'm picking up on things that I think are going to come into play later. For instance, there was this Black woman in the train station who was homeless, and Liz made comment that in New York, she's looked at for what she wears, what she knows, how she speaks, her job, and all these other things before she's looked at for the color of her skin. And she sees this Black woman, and she's this homeless woman in her hometown, and she's thinking, well, when I'm here, people don't see me for those parts of myself. They see me for my skin color first. And so she can't separate herself from this woman because in this small town, everyone looks at both of them the same because they're both Black. Anyway, that was just an interesting bit. What is happening? But anyway, this lady gave her a flyer, and it seemed like she was trying to ask her for something or give her the flyer. I don't know what the flyer was for. She crumpled it up, she put it in her pocket. I know that's going to come back into play later. There are so many little pieces that I'm like, okay, I'm going to save that for later. I'm going to just lock that away. And I think they're all going to come into play. So I'm interested to see how we get from this to wherever it's going. Some words that I saw mentioned in reviews were mind-bending, supernatural Karen slaughter, which I love, sold based on just that alone, magical realism, and how the magical realism is kind of blended into the everyday world, into our world. All of these things sound great to me. We're just now at 30% getting a little peek of like a threat in the woods. Oh, I don't even think I mentioned, wow. She's going to her friend Mel's wedding. Mel has a daughter, Caroline, who's 10 years old. She and her fiance have been together since Caroline was born. But they're just now getting married. Caroline goes into the woods and gets lost. How did I forget to mention that? She goes into the woods on the night of the wedding. It was Liz's job to watch her. And she disappeared, and now the search party's out. And Mel's freaking out. Like, talk about ruining your wedding.
Worst wedding ever.
Mel's brother is a cop, and he said some stuff to Liz when they were growing up. Mel's white. Did I mention that? So Mel and her brother are white. Liz is Black, but also Mel's fiance and daughter are Black. Obviously, there's some like racial dynamics going on, especially because it seems like the only people who are getting taken by the woods, is the only way I can think to describe it, are Black girls. And also their like heart is missing, like their heart's been pulled out. That's been the case for at least 2 of them. Anyway, so right now I'm enjoying it, and I will catch up with you guys when I finish this to give you my full review, and hopefully I will enjoy this as much as I think I'm going to. Right now it's feeling like 4 stars. Could be 5 star if this really blows my mind. Could be 3.5 star. I don't really see this being less than a 3.5 star just because of the quality of the writing and the way that it's keeping my interest right now. I think I'm into it. So 30% in. If you're not feeling this, then maybe this book isn't for you, because I am hooked right now. Okay, hi, it's the next day. I'm about to go into work, but I am like 45% into Jackal now, and there's more that I want to talk about. One thing I do want to mention is that Liz keeps bringing up the fact that she's really into the stars. Her mom was into the stars too, but she's really into the folklore that comes along with the stars and what different communities believed, like had their like stories about how they came to be. So I think that's going to come into play at some point. And then also, I was gonna say that at the beginning of this was giving me, because of the like returning home from the city to the small hometown that's clearly racist, for a friend's wedding, it was very much giving me When the Reckoning Comes by LaTonya McQueen. But now we've kind of taken a turn. Liz has gone to this like support group filled with these women whose children have gone missing, and they're all different ages, but the one thing that she cannot help but notice is that they're all Black women. A room full of Black women with missing kids in this town where it's like the population is like, I think they said 14% African American and the rest white. So something's not adding up. There's something going on. I'm really liking where this is going. They are kind of playing with that idea of, is it supernatural or is it not? So I'm like, okay, like what's the twist? What's the twist? And then I'm thinking about the title of this, Jackal, and where does that come in? Like, what is a jackal? Is some kind of figure in folklore too, right? Some kind of, I'll have to look that up. I feel like it's some kind of animal or creature. And so I'm like, okay, does that have something to do with this? I don't know. But I need to go into work. I have Hadley's. My stepdaughter's got a like recital after work today, so it's gonna be a long day. We're gonna go straight there. I'm gonna pick her up some flowers on the way home. It's Thursday, long day at work, so I'll see you all later. Hello, what's up? Did I scare you, Denver? Sorry. I'm here to update you on my reading. And I did finish Jackal yesterday, so I want to talk to you about that a little bit. I am giving this 4 stars. That's just what it feels like. It feels really good. First of all, I'm so impressed by this as a debut novel. And Erin Adams says herself, this is an ambitious novel, and it's absolutely ambitious. There's a lot going on. She's put a lot of effort into this story and making sure that little parts can come together in a certain way, and the writing itself is very good. It reminds me of Tananarive. She kind of blends the supernatural and the spiritual. So depending on what you believe even can change the way you view this book as to whether or not you think it is even supernatural or what the definition of supernatural even is. And when it gets into this kind of stuff, like, that's where I'm like, oh, I don't know how to explain it. Another thing that she does, like Tananarive is go into Black culture really, really deeply. Liz's mom is Haitian, and so there's a lot of that influence in there as well. And just the fact that I am comparing this to Tananarive, who I just think is such an incredible writer, and it's a debut book, it just like makes me really excited about what she's going to come out with next and where she's going to take her writing. This one really impressed me. Even though this wasn't a 5-star for me, this really did impress me. It's not just genre fiction, it's not just horror, it has something to say. It has a lot to say. How much it takes to get people talking when Black children go missing. And in a story like this, where that's happening over and over and over again, we're also touching on Black people in white spaces, because it's only the Black people in this white space that are going missing. So there's also so much. There's feeling othered. So much in here to chew on and to talk about. I think this would be a great book club pick. It's doing all of the right things. It's doing the storytelling justice. It gets a little bit chaotic, a little bit confusing right towards the end. So you really have to pay attention to that part. So just keep that in mind. And you may still be left feeling confused, but this is satisfying. It was satisfying to me anyway. The writing. I want to talk about the writing a little bit more. Did I just delete everything? Hold on. Please tell me. Oh, thank God. Whew. I take pretty good notes most of the time, and I thought I just lost them all. Especially when I'm listening on audio and I want a quote, I have to actually go through and write that down. I put a bookmark in there, but then I want to write it down so I can reference it. One quote that was like towards the very end, I'm not going to tell you all of it, even though I really want to because it's so good, but I think it's a little spoilery, so I'm just going to tell you the last like couple of sentences or couple of bits here because I just thought it was so good. But again, I listened to the audio, so I couldn't tell you a page number. The choices that she has made in relation to her Blackness and her womanness combined. It says, I fractured myself as goodness demanded. I fractured myself as goodness demanded. I love this because it's how I feel as a woman a lot, that if you're a good person, you give away too much of yourself. You just do. But that's not the truth. That's not the truth. Anyway, I fractured myself as goodness demanded of me. I thought the only demon I had to face coming home was doubt. And it was not. It was far more than doubt. But yeah, I thought it was really good. If I were to critique it at all, I would say it needed to be a little bit more concise. And I think that could convert to length. The length being a little bit shorter, but really just more concise. There were a lot of things, like I loved when I was reading it, that I felt like, oh, I need to save this, tuck it away for later because I think I'll need that. And a lot of that I did need. There are also other things that she didn't really tie up loose ends for, that I was left a little bit wanting and a little bit confused. But overall, really great storytelling. Loved the commentary in here. Awesome piece of horror. Beautiful cover. The audiobook was done really well. 4 stars. Solid 4 stars. I have started reading. Hold on. I don't want to sit like this. So I also just started another book by Hailey's suggestion. And that is We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz. I don't know if you can see that.
In this book, we're following 2 best friends who accidentally committed like a casual little manslaughter, oops, on vacation. And one of the friends is like totally fine with it, bounces back, a resilient queen, and the other girl is like super fucked up about it. So at their next yearly vacation, it happens again where another man dies at the hands of this best friend duo. And the girl who was really disturbed by the last death that they were a part of starts to think, is this a pattern? Is my best friend low-key a murderer?
One, I'm 34% into it, listening on audio again as well. This is one that when it came out, I wasn't especially interested in reading it. It seemed like it would be an okay thriller. And then Hailey pushed me over the edge on this one. 2 best friends, Emily and Kristen. Kristen has moved to Australia for a job. So they're so far apart now. Best friends, they always travel together, and they don't just travel to like the regular touristy spots. They go to like in the like backwoods of South America somewhere. And last year when they were on vacation, Emily, who's our main character, was sexually assaulted. They ended up killing her assaulter in this once-in-a-lifetime freak accident. They did away with the body and they went back home and never thought of it again. Emily was absolutely traumatized. I mean, I say they didn't think of it again, but they didn't talk about it. She thought about it. And it really messed her up. Now, as we were entering the story, it's a year later and they are going on another trip. This time, Kristen gets into a situation with a man and Emily is off doing her things, comes back to find a dead body. Now this is not just a one-time coincidental once-in-a-lifetime thing. Now it's like...
What?
When Emily was assaulted a year ago, Kristen was there for her. She helped her in a way that nobody else could, obviously, because only the 2 of them know about this situation. And she supported her in a way that Emily was like, I owe her this huge favor. So now that it's happened to Kristen, Emily is like, I have to support her. But Emily is oddly unscathed by this. It's giving My Sister the Serial Killer, and we're starting to feel at 30% like she's not reacting the way, and of course everybody grieves differently, so you want to give her some space and you want to give her some grace, I guess I should say. Back to my original thought, the thing that surprised me was that when I heard that synopsis, I was like, as soon as it happened the second time, even the first time, I mean, if it's your best friend, you know, whatever, but the second time, I'm immediately suspicious if I'm Emily. And so I was like, there's no way, like, it's not plausible. But what I wasn't expecting is that they really delve into their friendship. Andrea Bartz, like, really makes it believable that this relationship that they have is, like, the most beautiful friendship ever. I don't want to say this because I have a feeling I know where this is going to go, but for people who are looking for stories that are like more like friendship centered,
you would think
that this would be one of those where it's like, oh my God, they have this beautiful friendship. They really help each other out in their times of need. Like nobody else is there for them. They had messed up childhoods. They just have each other, you know? And so she really did a good job of making me amenable to this situation and making me suspend my disbelief that maybe if this did happen, I would support her because she seems like they have this bond. But I'm starting to think that this is going to be like a toxic female relationship type story. And I think that's pretty obvious given the synopsis. But I'm still hoping it doesn't because I want them to have this beautiful friendship, but I'm not trusting Kristen. 30% in, I just started it last night and just kind of like listening very casually. This one I haven't even taken notes for, but I'm I'm in it. And I'm like, okay, I'm invested. It's something that I want to pick up. I want to figure out what's going on. So I'm pretty impressed off the bat by the vibe, the energy that I'm getting from this story. So that's good. I'm trying to remember if this is the writer of the writing retreat or if that was Julia Bartz. Because I think they're sisters, but I keep getting them mixed up. Oh, that is Julia Bartz. Darn. Okay. Are they sisters? Or do they just have the same last name? I could be making something up. I don't know.
The authors are actually sisters. Andrea and Julia Bartz both released thriller novels this year. Andrea with The Spare Room and Julia with The Writing Retreat.
Anyway, I'm going to leave you there, 30% in to this one, and I may or may not catch you up again before I finish it, but I think that's a pretty good general gist of what this story is and what it's feeling like getting into it. So I am going to go chill. It's been a long day, and I have another long one tomorrow, so I will catch up soon, my dear friends. Calm down, sir. Capiche?
Unhappy.
It's time to catch y'all up. I am so like in outer space. My mom and my sister came to visit. We had an awesome time. They were here for 5 days, and my like brain stopped. Like everything I was doing was put on hold. But I'm back now and happy to talk to you. I need to wrap you up on the Andrea Bartz book. I really ended up liking it more than I thought I was going to. It's feeling 4-star. It's feeling 4-star. It's not giving 5-star, but it is feeling 4-star. It's better than I thought it was going to be. There was a running theme throughout, specifically that talked about how the opposite of fear is not safety, but power. And I thought that was really interesting and gave this story just a little bit of an extra something to think about, because that theme is definitely explored throughout this. So Kristen surprises Emily and shows up in Wisconsin. Emily, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but she has a new boyfriend, Erin. And so she's been a little bit reticent about sharing information about Erin with Kristen, because Kristen seems to always be the one who not ends her relationships, but who like plants the seed of like, this guy maybe isn't valuing you or whatever it might be. Now that the second murder has happened, Emily is not looking at Kristen the same way. She's got the eye, like I was talking about earlier. Like she's like, something's not quite right here. She's seeing her best friend from this brand new perspective, and she's a little bit paranoid. This definitely gives you that feeling of paranoia, of what is real, of gaslighting, I guess. So if that's a trigger for you, obviously you may not like this one. But this whole time you're in Emily's head, so you're feeling her paranoia. You're feeling that sensation that the rug is going to get pulled out from underneath you, but you don't know when. So you're just trying to stay as alert as possible so that you can jump at the perfect moment and, delay the fall, the trip. But it's very tense in that way, and it takes off running. The stakes are so high in this. When we first are entered into the story, it's the second murder, but we don't really, we do know that it's the second murder, but we don't get the details of the first one until later on in the story. I think the way that she formatted this was really smart. I like the dynamic of the friendship between these girls, and the very end of this has like a little moment where you're like, wait, hold on, what is happening? It is left a little bit open-ended. It's not like Cabin at the End of the World, gaping open maw of an ending, but it has a little bit of a zinger, which I really like, and I appreciate it when an author does that, because you're like, oh, maybe I don't know all the answers, and I like that sensation. So anyway, I am giving it 4 stars. I really liked it. This vlog is going really well, especially when I tell you where I'm at with the next book, because I apologize, I did not update you, but I have started another book, and I literally only have an hour left of the audio. Ugh, I've been such a bad girl. I've also started reading Lisa Jewell, The Night She Disappeared, and I'm really liking this one too. In fact, this has the potential to be a 5-star, although at this point, with an hour left, I feel like I've gotten the big reveal and I know everything that I'm going to know, aside from the, like, as far as twists go, but it's going to be more of like wrapping it up and finding out where things left off, like where things wound up, just the last little details of this mystery. But it's very close. It's feeling 4.5 right now. Like, it is so good. Lisa Jewell, even though she's such a big name, has gone under my radar. I read a couple of her books back in the day and then just kind of didn't think about it again. Kind of put her in a category, I guess. But she does very refined British thrillers in that she very purposefully plots them out. She does a good job of, you know, making you think you know what's going on when you really don't actually know what's going on. Her characters are really relatable. You feel for them. So there's a blend of the writing, the characters, the plot, the storytelling in general that she's an experienced writer. She just does a good job. And this story is no exception to that. I read another Lisa Jewell recently, her newest one, and really liked that. So I decided to like keep digging in. And then Hailey mentioned this. So I was like, of course, I have to read this now. Okay, my battery's gonna die. Please hold.
Because she is my underrated queen. I think Lisa Jewell deserves so much more hype. I'm obsessed with her. And one of her releases that didn't get nearly as much talk as some of her other books, like Then She Was Gone and I Found You, was The Night She Disappeared. Now, this was, in the year that it came out, my top 3, my 3rd favorite book of the entire year. I don't know why people, when they taste test Lisa Jewell, are always picking up Then She Was Gone, because to me, that is by far not her best book. This one is up there, though. It is a classic girl gone missing story. We are following the disappearance of this teen mom, and she's not what you might stereotypically think of as a teen mom, which is kind of like a negative connotation. She's not irresponsible or anything like that. She's really a hard worker and cares so much about her kid and has the full support of her grandmother. So when she disappears at this party, it's really, really out of character for her. And her grandma is going around telling everyone, like, this is not anything like my granddaughter. She's such a responsible mom, yada, da, 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 da. But of course, no one believes her because they have these preconceived notions about a teen mom.
So in The Night She Disappeared, we're following mainly, I guess, 3 women and 2 timelines, but they're happening in kind of close ranges. So I think one of them's in 2017, and that's when she disappeared. When the title says The Night She Disappeared, that happened in 2017. And then we're also following a year later. Now, the 3 women that we're following are Tallulah. She's the one who disappeared. She's the daughter of Kim, and she's a very young mom. She has a little boy, Noah, who is not even a year old, and she's 18, I think. And I think Kim also had her young. And she is trying to figure out if she can live with the baby's dad, if they can work together, because they were like high school sweethearts. But when he found out that she was pregnant, he left her. And now, several months later, when he's come around again, he wants to get back together, and he's working really hard, and he's saving up money to get a condo or an apartment or whatever, because they're currently living with Kim. And this is currently in 2017. I hope I'm not confusing you. So she's giving him another shot, and she's going to see if it can work out. The 2 of them go out for like a date night, and Kim stays home to watch the baby. And they never come back. That is the incident that happens in 2017. The next year, we're following Kim in 2018, and she is now raising her daughter's child, her grandson, Noah. Her daughter and her boyfriend have not been seen in this year. And then we're also following an unconnected or seemingly unconnected character named Sophie. Here's one thing I will say, that you kind of have to get a lot of backstory in order for all of this to come together. So it's going to seem like I'm info dumping, but it doesn't feel like that when you read the book. So just keep that in mind. In this little town that they're in, that Kim lives in, there is this manor in this town, and it's called Dark Place. And there's this really rich family that lives there. The daughter is named Scarlet. Close to that, there's also this high school where the rich kids go to. So there's a very much like divide between the rich kids and the like regular kids. And clearly Tallulah's a regular kid, Scarlet is a rich kid. Tallulah was last seen at Scarlet's house. So she's involved, but we don't know how or why, because they weren't really friends. And then in 2018, Sophie comes along. She is dating the headmaster at this rich kid school, Maypole or something like that. They're kind of in a new relationship. She's a writer, but she's not doing too much writing because she finds this sign in her backyard that says dig here, and she digs and she finds a ring. And when she hunts down the jewelry store, she realizes that this ring belongs to... Anyway, so she starts investigating this case. I love it. I love Tallulah's point of view. I love her character. I love the audio narrator for this. The audio narrator is so freaking good. I got this audio on Everand, so it should still be available on there. I also have a code for that. If you're interested in using it, you can get you 60 days free and me 30 days free. So that's always down in my links. It's in my link tree. So if you want that code, just go give it a click. I didn't take any notes. I should have, but I didn't. But I've been meaning to update you guys so I can finish this book. I'm like, I can't go into this update finished. So I have like an hour left. I'll probably do that. I need to get my house into shape. And we have Hadley tonight. I have to get up super early tomorrow for a CPR class for work. Yeah, I'm just gonna power through, try to get my house in order, try to get my calendar updated. I just feel like I don't know anything right now. I'm so clueless and overwhelmed by life at the moment. So, but yeah, knocking stuff off the list. One thing at a time. Check, check, check. And I'm so like in my head about how to rate this book. When I finished it, I was like, maybe it is a 4-star, because I was comparing it to Jackal, and Jackal feels so much bigger, but also they're so different. They're two very different thrillers. So maybe Jackal should have been 4.5 stars. It's raining right now, by the way. I'm sure you can hear it. It's actually kind of nice. It's afternoon. It's actually starting to get brighter because the rain finally came out. It was just dark and cloudy for a long time. I think Jackal is my... I loved all of these books, y'all. There were more twists in the ending in The Night She Disappeared. There were more twists that I feel like I should have seen coming, but for some reason didn't. It started to make sense. Like, things started to come together in a way that I didn't foresee. In fact, I was kind of hoping for a specific ending with this, and pretty much immediately once we finally get up to the night that this all happened, because this whole time as you're reading it, it's going back and giving you tidbits that get closer to that starting point, all the while you're going back and forth into a year later, which is our current day. I hope this makes sense. The second we get to like that moment, that night, and we find out what actually happens, it ruined what I wanted, how I wanted this to end. And so it left me feeling a little bit deflated, I guess. Maybe that's it. I felt like, thought we were building to something there that we just weren't. And maybe it's not, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe she's trying to, maybe I'm looking into it too much as well. But maybe she's trying to say that something about the complexity of the human nature. I have to do what I think is right. And in this moment, it feels like a 4-star. So I am going to give it a 4-star. Which means every single one of these books were 4 stars, which is fantastic. This was a really good reading vlog, and I think it's fair to say that Hailey and my taste align pretty well. I was trying to think today about what is different, like what she likes and that I don't, and what I like and she doesn't. She's a big into slashers, which I don't like. She definitely reads more smut than me. And I think she likes more like rich people stuff than I do, which I enjoy that stuff, but I don't like crave it, you know? I hope you don't mind me saying that, Hailey. But I was watching one of her videos yesterday. She was talking about books that define her taste, which let me know if you would like me to do this video as well, because I thought it was a great idea. Referencing a trend on Instagram right now, I guess. Books that define my taste in books. Like I said, Karen Slaughter, Pretty Girls, like that's like the absolute for me too, and I totally get why that's the absolute for her, because it's the same for me. But another one that she brought up in that video that I was surprised by was The Humans by Matt Haig. She is, woof, right here. The Humans is also a book that I would say defines my reading taste, because it means so much to me. I love this book so much. And she did say, yeah, it's a little bit pretentious. And I can see that it is, but sometimes I love things that are pretentious, honestly. This just delving into human nature, and we have the perspective of an alien, and he's come to Earth to stop us from learning about something, a math thing that's going to give us too much power that we're not ready for. And so he goes to kill this mathematician, and he ends up taking over his life. It's like a body snatcher, but he, of course, thinks that his people are better, but they're very unemotional, very unfeeling. He ends up falling in love with humanity. Ugh, it's so beautiful, though, and it's so hilarious. I haven't laughed out loud since. Like, probably since, but not this much since I read that. Anyway, so Hailey and I have that in common as well. And I have to say, from doing this experiment, if you will, that I think it's safe to say that taking a rec from Hailey is a good idea for me specifically, and probably for you too. I was considering doing one more book in this video, but I just don't think I'm gonna have time because I need to get to my book club book. And then there was Silence by Candace Robinson, because I have, like 10 days, and I just realized there's no audiobook for this book. I have the physical book, and I started reading the first chapter like, oh, look how cute I am, like reading a physical book. And then I went to look it up and I could not find the audiobook, and I am distraught. I am distraught. But this isn't apparently traditionally published, which I didn't realize, and now I'm gonna pay closer attention to that. I still, however, think this book is going to be great. And maybe, if it is, I will, spread it around for more people to read. That'd be awesome. Thanks to Hailey for always recommending great books. And thanks to y'all for watching this video. I appreciate you. Don't forget that life is short. So read Riley. How's this the only moment of my life I don't have, I have, 3 cups of water or drinks at all times. Coffee, soda. It's shameful, actually. I'm ashamed. Anyway, see you soon. Cheers and goodbye!